The Girl Who Taught a Millionaire. What wealth really means. Marcus Chen had everything money could buy. The 42-year-old CEO of Tech Vision Industries commanded boardrooms across 3 continents, owned penthouses in 5 countries, and wore watches that cost more than most people's homes. His net worth had crossed into 9 figures 2 years ago, and analysts predicted he'd hit billionaire status within the decade. Yet on this particular Tuesday evening, as he pulled his Mercedes into the parking lot of an ordinary suburban supermarket, he felt something he rarely experienced, genuine exhaustion that money couldn't fix. His assistant had called in sick. His chef was on vacation, and Marcus realized with mild embarrassment that he couldn't remember the last time he'd bought his own groceries. The fluorescent lights of Save Mart felt aggressively bright after the dim leather interior of his car. He grabbed a cart and headed inside, oddly out of place in his tailored suit among shoppers in yoga pants and work uniforms. That's when he saw her. A little girl, maybe 7 years old, sat cross-legged on the floor near checkout lane 3. She wore a faded pink jacket that had seen better years, her dark hair pulled into a slightly messy ponytail. But it wasn't her appearance that stopped Marcus in his tracks. It was her eyes. She sat perfectly still, watching each customer load their groceries onto the conveyor belt with an intensity that seemed too profound for such a small child. Her gaze followed the bread, the milk, the fresh vegetables, the packaged meats. She wasn't staring with the typical impatience of a bored child. She was watching with hunger, with longing, with a quiet desperation that made Marcus's chest tighten. If this story touches your heart, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe to Trillionaire in Love for more inspiring stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Your support helps us reach more people who need to hear these messages. Marcus found himself abandoning his cart and walking toward her. As he got closer, he noticed her worn sneakers with the sole starting to separate, the way she clutched a small battered notebook to her chest. An older woman, presumably her mother, stood several feet away at a discount rack, examining price tags with the careful attention of someone calculating every penny. "Hello there," Marcus said gently, crouching down to her level. "I'm Marcus. What's your name?" The girl looked up at him with startling composure. "Lily," she said quietly. "I'm not supposed to talk to strangers." "That's very smart. Is that your mom over there?" Marcus gestured toward the woman. Lily nodded. "What are you doing sitting here all by yourself?" Lily's small fingers tightened around her notebook. "I'm doing my homework. Mom says I should practice my numbers while she looks for what we can afford." The matter-of-fact way she said it broke something inside Marcus. "I'm supposed to count all the things people buy. I've counted 347 items so far tonight." Marcus sat down beside her, his expensive suit pants on the supermarket floor. "That's impressive math." "Can I see?" Lily opened her notebook, revealing page after page of careful tallies. Bread 23, milk 31, apples 18, chicken 12. She'd been categorizing everything she saw people purchase. "My teacher says math is important," Lily explained. "She says if I'm good at numbers, I can have a better life someday. So I practice everywhere." "Your teacher is absolutely right," Marcus said, his voice catching slightly. "Why do you watch people buy food specifically?" Lily's young face grew serious. "Because food is the most important thing. Without it you can't do homework or go to school or play or anything. Mom says we have to be careful because money doesn't grow on trees." She paused, then added with the brutal honesty of childhood, "Sometimes we have to choose between food and medicine for my little brother. He has asthma. Mom cries sometimes when she thinks I'm sleeping." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow. Here he was, a man who'd spent $12,000 on dinner in Paris last month without blinking, sitting next to a child who was watching other people's groceries because her family couldn't always afford both food and medicine. The contrast wasn't just stark, it was obscene. "Where's your little brother now?" Marcus asked. "At home with our neighbor. He's 5. His name is Tommy." Lily smiled for the first time, and it transformed her serious little face. "He's really funny. He wants to be an astronaut." Marcus made a decision. "Lily, would you and your mom like to do something? I'd like to help you practice your math with a real shopping trip. Would that be okay?" Lily's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" "I mean, let's go get your mom and you can help me shop for groceries. You can count everything we put in the cart, and whatever you want we'll get. Consider it a math lesson. We can't accept charity, Lily said firmly, echoing words she'd clearly heard from her mother. Mom says we work for what we have. It's not charity, Marcus said gently. You're providing a service. I'm a CEO of a big company, and I'm terrible at grocery shopping. I need an expert consultant. That's a real job, and consultants get paid. In this case, payment is groceries. Deal? Lily considered this with endearing seriousness. Okay, but I have to ask Mom first. The conversation with Lily's mother, whose name was Sarah, was harder. She was a proud woman. Marcus could see that immediately. A single mother working 2 jobs, doing everything she could to keep her children fed and healthy, despite circumstances that would have crushed many people. She was suspicious of Marcus at first, protective of her daughter, wary of his expensive appearance and sudden generosity. Why would you want to help us? Sarah asked directly, her arms crossed defensively. Marcus thought about lying, spinning some corporate story about community outreach. But Lily's honest eyes were watching him, and he found he couldn't do it. Because your daughter reminded me of something I forgot a long time ago, he said quietly. I forgot what it's like to watch every penny. I forgot what it's like to have to choose between medicine and food. I grew up in a family that struggled too, but somewhere along the way I got so focused on making money that I forgot what money is actually for. It's not for hoarding or for status symbols. It's for moments like this. Please let me do this. Not for you, but for me, because I need to remember who I used to be. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Her defensive posture softened. One shopping trip, she said finally. But we're keeping track of everything, and somehow, someday, I'll pay you back. Deal, Marcus said, though he had no intention of ever collecting. What happened next would stay with Marcus for the rest of his life. Lily became the most enthusiastic shopping consultant imaginable. She carefully selected fresh fruits and vegetables, explaining to Marcus which ones had the best vitamins. She picked out whole grain bread because it was healthier than white. She chose lean meats and fish, milk and cheese, cereal and oatmeal. But it was the little extras that made Marcus's throat tight. The box of crayons she held like treasure. The small toy dinosaur for Tommy, the paperback book she'd clearly been eyeing for months. How much is this? Lily asked about each item, her notebook ready. Don't worry about that tonight, Marcus said. Tonight we're shopping for quality, not price. As the cart filled, Sarah wiped away tears repeatedly. You don't understand what this means, she whispered to Marcus while Lily was carefully examining apples. Last week Tommy had an asthma attack, and his inhaler was almost empty. I had to choose between refilling it and buying enough food for the week. I chose the inhaler, obviously, but we've been stretching everything so thin. Her voice broke. You don't know what it's like to see your children hungry and not be able to fix it. Marcus surprised himself by tearing up too. I'm so sorry you've had to face that alone. At the checkout, the total came to over $600. Lily's eyes went wide. That's $617.32, she announced, having calculated every item. That's so much money. It's an investment, Marcus said, handing over his credit card without hesitation. An investment in a future astronaut and a brilliant mathematician. But Marcus wasn't done. As they loaded the groceries into Sarah's old car, he made another decision. He pulled out his business card and wrote his personal number on the back. Sarah, I own a tech company. We're always looking for hard-working people. I don't know what your current jobs are, but I'd like to offer you a position in our administrative department. Better pay, better hours, health insurance that would cover Tommy's medications. No strings attached, just an opportunity. Sarah stared at the card like it was made of gold. I don't have a college degree. Neither did my mother, and she was the smartest person I ever knew. We train good people. That's what we do. Think about it, call me when you're ready. Then he knelt down to Lily's level one more time. Lily, I want you to know something. What you did tonight, sitting here practicing your math, watching and learning, that shows more dedication and intelligence than most adults I know. Your teacher is right. Keep working hard, keep learning, and there's nothing you can't do. You're going to do amazing things. Lily surprised him by throwing her small arms around his neck. Thank you, Mr. Marcus. You're really nice for a rich person. Marcus laughed through his tears. You know what, Lily? You just taught me that being rich isn't about how much money you have. It's about how much you care. And by that measure, your mom is the richest person I've met. As Marcus drove home that night, his own luxury penthouse felt emptier than ever before. He'd bought his groceries, but he'd gained something far more valuable. Perspective, purpose. A reminder of why he'd worked so hard in the first place. It wasn't to accumulate wealth. It was to have the power to make moments like tonight possible. The next day, Marcus established the Tech Vision Community Fund with an initial donation of $5 million, dedicated to helping families facing the impossible choice between medicine and food. He hired Sarah, who turned out to be an exceptional employee, organized and efficient. Within 6 months, she was managing a team. Tommy's asthma was under control with proper treatment. And Lily, she continued to excel in school, her notebook always closed, still practicing her numbers, but now with a full stomach and big dreams. Marcus visited their family regularly. They became his reminder, his anchor to what mattered. Whenever he felt himself slipping back into the trap of meaningless accumulation, he remembered a little girl sitting on a supermarket floor, counting other people's groceries because she understood their value. Years later, when asked in an interview about the best business decision he ever made, Marcus didn't mention any acquisition or product launch. "I met a 7-year-old consultant who taught me what wealth really means," he said. "She reminded me that all the money in the world means nothing if you don't use it to make someone's burden lighter. The real measure of wealth isn't what you have, it's what you give. And sometimes the people who have the least teach us the most about abundance." Before you go, I want to ask you something important. If this story moved you, if it reminded you to look beyond yourself and see the struggles others face silently, please share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment below telling us about a time someone's kindness changed your life, or a time you were able to help someone else. Hit that subscribe button and join our Trillionaire in Love family, where we share stories that inspire us to be better, to do more, and to love deeper. Because these aren't just stories, they're reminders that we all have the power to change someone's world, one kind act at a time. Thank you for being here, and remember, true wealth is measured not by what we keep, but by what we give away.